Good evening, everybody. It is deadline day, and what was a quiet morning, a quiet afternoon, all of a sudden we've gone back to back in the last 2 hours. So what we are hoping is that we're going to waffle on for 7 minutes or so, and then come 5:57, we'll have another announcement to talk about, which is hopefully going to be the big one. It's a bit like Christmas Day, this, isn't it? I know we say this all the time, but it's like you've unwrapped two of your presents, but you know the big one's coming, and I feel like that's where we're at the moment. Is like, are we going to have to wait until now, or are we going to have our lunch first, get some dinner, get our Christmas dinner down us, and then come 7 o'clock, that's when we'll get the big one. I've got Max and Loz with me tonight, and we're pretty much going to sit here and wait for stuff to happen. We'll talk about what's gone through today as well. We'll talk about, obviously, people that are leaving. We've seen one out the door just now recently within the last 20 minutes or so, and that's sort of where we're at. Lods, do you want to talk to me about how today's been so far?
Yeah. It's a strange one, isn't it? Because I think the position that we're in today is only because we've left everything so late. You know, we've got how many people on the transfer list? 8 people, and there's been no movement. And then obviously having to sign players on deadline day because we've left it so late to realise that the squad isn't good enough and we need better players in. Who have we signed today so far then? So we've signed this Jimmy J. Morgan, a striker. I spoke to a Gillingham fan about him. I think he was on loan there last season. He said there's clearly some technical ability behind him there, but he's very lightweight. Is that really what we want? Bearing in mind that we want basically somebody to rival Gustav for a starting space as it stands. Gustav's obviously very lightweight himself. And then Tom O'Connor. So yeah, I think we've heard reasonable things about him. I can't lie and say that I've watched these players play before, so I'll leave all of that sort of stuff to Max because I know he's interested in that sort of thing. But I mean, overall, them two both coming in is probably a good thing. On loan, I'm not so sure. Again, I think that's probably just a fault of ours leaving it to the last minute. There's probably better players out there we could have signed if we realised our mistakes maybe a month earlier. But I mean, the positive is that we've recognised that we needed these players in, and we've actually got someone, or in this case, 2 people.
Yeah, do you know what? I've watched the interview from the lad from Chelsea, and I'm a bit concerned already, if I'm being completely honest. He says he doesn't like to be kicked. Now, yeah, he's probably right. Nobody does like to be kicked, do they? But we've watched Gustav get thrown around like a little rag doll in the last 2 games and not really have an impact. I don't know whether we've maybe signed him to play on the wing and sort of offer that. I did ask. I hope he's fast because that gets you going, doesn't it? That makes it exciting. I'm going to run through the comments. So if anybody's got any YouTube comments or comments on Twitter that they want to put in there, then we'll probably work through those because we've got plenty of time. I'm probably going to cover Lods up a little bit here with this. So lucky everyone. Macewell wants us to lie to him and tell him that it will all be okay. I said I think we will be okay, right? Max, is it going to be okay? Are you going to lie to Macewell?
I don't know if I could lie. I was relatively concerned. I think I still probably am slightly concerned. But I think we've got through the door today is good. And if the 6 p.m. announcement is who I hope it is, then I think it sort of gives an indication as to how we're going to play going forward. And that's going to be quite key. I think Jimmy J. Morgan is extremely highly rated at Chelsea. You can see he's clearly going through a pathway, Gillingham before and then now with us in League One. So I think there's definitely a talent there. And O'Connor as well. I think that's a really good signing for us. Played 2,400 minutes in the Wrexham promotion season, has been on the bench for Wrexham over the last few games in the Championship. So we've got somebody who's been in and around a relatively new Championship squad, but a squad that's ever changed at Wrexham. And that's important, is that we've got somebody in that's got a different lens of perspective and that can come in and give these youngsters who probably maybe aren't good enough, a real, different view. And hopefully help them to improve. Are we going to be okay? I still think so. I still think there's probably an element of delusion in that, considering we've gone, 7 games and drew 1, including a Carabao Cup exit to a League 2 side. But these signings that, you've got to remain positive is my mantra. And I think I think I'm pretty positive overall, especially if the 6 p.m. announcement is who I think it is.
You both keep saying about this 6 p.m. announcement. Are we even so sure that there will be a 6 p.m. announcement? I think it's very,
Hold
very,
the phone. Stop exactly what you're saying. It's not who we think it is. We've just unwrapped another small present. It is welcome to another multiple promotion winner and strengthen at left wing back / left back. A loan signing, Jacob Mendy from Wrexham again. So we've gone 2 from 2. So they're obviously sharing a coach down. That one
below that, it says that concludes our business for another window.
And that concludes our business for another window, Posh fans.
Sorry, not a chance. He's saving Harry Leonard till 7 p.m. He wants us all to believe that he hasn't signed a big expensive striker, and he's going to announce it and hope that we're all shocked and surprised. And thanks, Dad, for the massive Christmas present. I will be disappointed if it doesn't happen now. I've said it, but I just think that he said it like 3 or 4 times now that we're not signing a striker. I don't believe him. I think it is coming. As for Mendy, I have said that we needed a left back. One of the negatives from this window, I think, is probably the way that we've dealt with the fullback positions. I think we obviously tried to sign Teo Adun at the start of the season, or the end of last season even. We then messed Harley Mills around with his new contract. Adebisi's still injured. We don't know when he's going to be fit enough to play. And then on the other side, we've got 3 right backs, haven't we? And I know people were saying about Carl Johnson playing left back between now and when Adebisi's fit, but I don't think Carl Johnson suits the left back role in this system. So I'm quite happy. I don't know anything about Mendy. He's put left wing back. I assume he's good at going forward. But yeah, I'm quite happy we've signed a left back. I can't lie.
I think that gives us an element of indication as to the plan, doesn't it? I think we might be sacking the back 4 off and going to a back 5. And I think Darren Ferguson is sick of Otto and sick of players like that on the wing that haven't been giving us any sort of impact, and we're going to change the system. And these signings have shown that, we're getting, we've got Kyozo in a right wing back, we've got this guy from Wrexham in a left wing back, we've got a centre back in or a central defensive midfielder that can play centre back in. It's going to be a back 3 with wing backs and then a midfield 3 and a 2 up top, which is good because I think Jimmy J Morgan will benefit from 2 up top. I was worried if we'd signed him on loan, but 3 loans on deadline day. Talk about going back on our transfer policies. I mean, it was what Darren said in June when he came on to our live that he was sick of loans and he wasn't going to do them anymore. And I asked him, I said, look, Darren, is there any way that you go back on that? And he said, well, look, only if we've got injuries or but even then, I mean, we've gone from having no loans to having 4 in the door now with Reyes, Jimmy J Morgan, O'Connor, and the wing back from Wrexham. 5. That's even worse. We've gone from refusing to have any loans to having 5 in the door with Kyozo as well. Oh my God. It's like, talk about a backtrack. Will that come back to bite us? I don't know, but it's definitely strength that we've got through the door, and hopefully, yeah, we can. But it feels like a massive panic on the last day.
Look, it's not often that I'm lost for words, but I think I might be. I'm more. That concludes our business for another window, Posh fans, because that sort of implies that nobody else is leaving. And even if, let's say, even if we don't bring in this this striker from Blackburn, that would obviously be disappointing after the heavy links. If that concludes our business, then that means that we've got like 8 players just sat around not doing anything. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there not a squad limit like you can have of players that are registered that you can then use, which obviously a deadline comes after the transfer window is closed? But I'm confused by that one, and I think that Wrexham fans quite enjoy Mendy as well. So I don't think that this is a bad one, if I'm being completely honest. It's just a complete surprise, isn't it? I don't know whether it's, well, we got the deal done for O'Connor and Wrexham sort of said, well, do you want this guy as well? I also think, what does that sort of say for Adebisi? And not that I'm not surprised by the Adebisi thing. we've gone from he'll be there at pre-season, then it was the start of August, end of August. We've run this story once before, haven't we? Is that I'm pretty sure that feels like Adebisi is just done, which is really unfortunate. We spent a lot of money on him, haven't we? And it looks like he's never really going to get the chance to show himself at Posh.
Do you not think, though, with this Mendy signing only being a year, that perhaps we've reassessed Adebisi's fitness and decided maybe we'll give him an extra year to get himself back fit, and we'll reevaluate in the summer? You know, maybe he gets fit enough to go out on loan in January, goes back to League Two where he thrived before. If he has a good loan spell, there's nothing saying that he can't play next season. And I think next season we won't have Harley Mills either, will we? So you're going to lose your first choice, and then, well, if Mendy's first choice, Mendy and Mills won't be here next season. So I think there is a way back in for Adebisi. I don't think Darrow will give up on him this soon just because of one injury, no matter how big it is.
I think my biggest problem at the moment is how bloated the squad feels. We've just overload ourselves with 3 more loans, and yes, they're in positions that we need, but I thought our transfer business relied on people going out, because our squad is absolutely huge now. I mean, as Ashley just said, we're going to have people just sitting around twiddling their thumbs for the majority of the season, because we aren't going to play them. If they don't see the system that Fergie wants to play, which I am absolutely confident now, if I wasn't before, is going to be a 5-3-2. If you don't fit that system, where do you come? You know, we've got 4 wingers. You know, we've got Lisby, we've got Hayes, we've got Frith, we've got Oddo. What are they going to do? Like, obviously, we'll bring them on to change a game when we're chasing a game, and we want to switch to wingers in a 4. But why? I don't get it. If this concludes our transfer business, as Ashley said, and there's no more outgoings, there's no Leonard, which is the big thing. The name that, you know, we were all hoping that we get, the big striker to come in. If what Darrow is saying is true, that is a huge cause for concern for me.
Do either of you two know what the rules are on loans after the window shuts? Can we still loan players out after the deadline?
Yes, to National League. The National League window basically just stays open until middle of March, back end of March. So you can still send them out, but there used to be that you could bring in loans if you were a EFL club from the Premier League, and there was sort of like a quieter deadline on that isn't the harsh one. But I'm pretty sure they got rid of that a few seasons back. So look, Darren said it here. He's playing games. We've got Leonard at 6.55. That's the thing, isn't it now? And it's a good thing. I want to see the positives in this, is that we've clearly established that the 4-3-3 is not working, and that we need to keep clean sheets earlier than January last season. But it's a confusing one, isn't it? When you don't have, when you literally no idea. I don't think anyone sniffed this Mendy one at all, and then it comes through, and you don't know. Like, he obviously didn't play a great deal last season, but he was in that rotation, I'm sure, with James McLean, and they were the 2 that were fighting for the spot. So he's clearly got a little bit about him. But are we taking Wrexham's dead wood? Is that a fair thing to say or not?
Well, let's not forget that Wrexham's dead wood are also teams that have probably players that have probably not only done back-to-back promotions and from League One to League Two to League One, but also ones that have gone to the Championship with Wrexham. And that's the sort of mentality that I'd like from signings, a winning mentality, a champions mentality. And ultimately, that's what these Wrexham players are that we're signing are those that probably aren't good enough for the Championship, but were good enough to get promoted with Wrexham. And that's the truth for me with these signings. Wrexham is such a great club to loan from because of A, their story, but B, what, you know, the players have done from going to League One to the Championship, and it's quality that we need. You know, we've complained all summer about, you know, we've got Lisby from the National League, we've got Frith from, you know, some random division in the middle of nowhere, we've got Lindgren, and we've got Wallin, who came also from a Swedish division that seems to be a lot weaker than League One. We've signed League Two players in Oddo, and we don't have any true League One quality. But now we're signing players that probably are League One quality. I don't think signing Wrexham Deadwood is necessarily a bad thing here. We're signing players that have gone up to the Championship in League One, and that's to me League One quality in itself.
Yeah, I'm just thinking the further back that I think now, it just seems we now have 3 left backs and 3 right backs at the club, and you've got hang on, let me count those centre backs: Hughes, Lees, O'Connor, Nevitt, Akagbue, Wallin. That's 6, right? Is there any more? Mendonca, you could include him, I guess, if you really wanted to, but he's an under 21, isn't he? So we've got, that is pretty much 12 defenders. Can we play 12 at the back? Is that possible? Will that help us sort a clean sheet problem?
Well, to be honest, we've always been bad at the back and good going forward, haven't we? So I don't know why. I think with our defensive errors, they're only sort of pointed out when we're not scoring goals, aren't they? I think if we made the defensive errors we do, but we won every game 4-3, I don't think anybody would really be complaining that much. I mean, we conceded over 100 goals with Zakawani and Bennett playing at the back, and they're like 2 of the greatest defenders we've had, certainly in the DMAC era. So, I mean, I'm not really that fussed about the quality of our defenders, but now I'm thinking about it more and more. The amount of players we've got in this squad is really alarming, isn't it? We've never been in this position before. We've never been known for a club to have so many players on the books, and we go on about the wage budget and cap space and blah blah blah. What has happened to all of that? Like since Archie Collins has said he's not signing a new deal, I've lost count how many players we've signed. 7, is it? And we've had 1 finally leave today. I've got the transfer list of players written in front of me. So you got Archie Collins, who was being linked to Stockport, but there wasn't really anything concrete there. Chris Clark, that's gone quiet. De Havilland was linked to a Scottish team like last night and this morning, but I've not seen anything really posted since then. Billikapich and Blackmore, God knows what's going on with them. They've both just gone into hiding. I don't even think they're training with us anymore. Jacob Wakeling, who was in the training photos last week, but again, what are we doing with him? And then even Oscar Wallin, who, I mean, we haven't transfer listed him, but like you say, actually, we've got 6 centre-backs now, and he's in Sweden. So, I mean, he's obviously fallen down the pecking order, hasn't he? Are we going to try and, I don't know what the Swedish transfer window is like. I don't know if they can still sign him after tonight's deadline. I honestly, I think we're going to be ripping up contracts tomorrow. I think we're going to wake up tomorrow and 4 of these names are just going to be gone because we're not going to get anything for them. We can loan them out to the National League, like you say. For some of them, that's clearly their level. But what we're going to gain from it, we'd be better off just getting rid of them. Like I said before, if we're banging on about our wage cap and how much we spend on wages, it's obviously an issue for us. So let's just get them off the books.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we're going to see at least. I was hoping that we might get some fees for a few of the Deadwood. I think Ryan de Havilland could have gone for a free. I could have gone for a fee. Sorry, not a free. Jeez, go for a fee. I really did. I think Ryan de Havilland is a decent League Two signing. Like I thought there was going to be a host of League Two clubs that would want his name. I think for a very long time at Posh he was very much a 6 out of 10 and quite an average League One player. But I think he just isn't. He isn't good enough to play for Peterborough United, and I don't think he's good enough to play in League One either. But there was a time where I'd give him 6 out of 10. It'd be the banker every week. I think he could play League Two, so I was quite surprised that, and even like up in Scotland, he could do a job there. So I'm surprised that nobody's taken a punt, to be honest. As for the other few, I mean, I'm completely with you, lads. I'd just terminate the contract, get the wage of the bill, look, just take the hit. We've made quite a bit of money this summer, but I'm just baffled that we've got all of these loans in on the last day, and to me that is a worry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said in the predictions episode that we did that we were going to go for like the record low goals conceded and the record low goals scored. And now it really does feel like Fergie mentioned it, didn't he, after the game on Saturday and said, well, Peterborough United teams are known for goal scoring. And Lod said it, didn't he? Is that even when we had one of our best ever seasons, we still conceded like 80 goals. We just scored 120. Is this a clear shift and acceptance that Fergie said it, DMAC said it, number nines don't exist in the capacity and the play the way that we want anymore? Is this just an acceptance that, right, well, if we can't find the strikers, we're going to have to defend better? And actually, they are. I can't even find the words. I'm actually really deflated here in that I said that going to watch Posh this season, John said it as well, that watching Posh this season has been boring. And is it going to get any better if we're playing a 5 at the back and hoping that we can nick 1-0 wins? Because that's what it looks like we're trying to do. We are literally just trying to shut up shop and be strong at the back. When you add in somebody like Alex Bass, when you add in Hughes as well, we've got a very experienced defence. Kyoso as well. The midfield looks incredibly strong, but with no change in the striker, it's a lot of pressure. I mentioned when we recorded yesterday morning, there's a lot of pressure on Keller to perform at 20, 21 years old. This lad from Chelsea, what's the pressure going to be like on him to start putting the ball in the back of the net? Is he going to be the man that can really help Gustav and help Gustav battle and score goals? I simply don't know. I hope he comes out tomorrow against Leyton Orient and he scores a hat-trick. But it's all a guessing game at the moment, isn't it?
I just want to throw a spanner in the works here when we're talking about, a lack of goal scoring. We've seen it, haven't we, in large capacity, that we really suck at putting the ball in the back of the net. And Exeter summed it up. Gustav made a really good run and he couldn't pull the trigger. We had that massive fumble in the box where we just looked like a bunch of Bambi on ices. Everybody was just wobbling around in the box, trying to desperately to just throw a limb at the ball, and nobody could put it in the net. And Ashley turned around and said it to me when we couldn't put it in the net. And it's, if you're winning, that goes in. And that's true, isn't it? Is that we currently are in such a horrible rot of form that something has to change. People are calling for the manager. People are saying that the ownership's bad. People are saying that it's the lack of a striker. But ultimately, change is needed. This system isn't working with the players that we have. So I think we have to change. I think we have to change the system. Now, let's not forget here that Wood scored 11 goals and got 5 assists in League 2 last season. Garbett looks a cut above. We've only got one game to base it off, but he looked fantastic, I thought, especially in that first half. When he's got fitness in his body, I really do think that, he might not even be here next summer. We might be flogging him for money to a championship club. We're going to keep Collins, it looks like, touch wood. There's 45 minutes of the window left, but it looks like we're going to keep Collins until January. If that's the case, we've got, not only have we got a really good defence now, we've also got a really good midfield. And I think there's 2 midfielders in Garbett and Woods that are really going to be influential in popping up with goals. I think Kyozo is probably one of the better wide players we've got at the club. I mean, he was fantastic in that season, and it was a long time ago. But even Oxford fans says that he was very good going forward. He just struggled defensively, and that's going to change, isn't it? It's a level below, and he's going to be able to get forward more in this new system. We know how good Mills is at bombing forward and taking set pieces too. Are the strikers going to be a problem? Yes, we're going to need to put it in the back of the net, but ultimately, are they going to be the ones that are going to have all the pressure to score all the goals when I think we've got more goals going backwards than we do going forwards? Now, if we go and sign Leonard, and this is a classic DMAC prank, and we go and sign Leonard, then I think we've got a very decent starting 11 and one that really should not be getting relegated with the goals that we've got throughout the team.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if Leonard is the £1.3 million striker that we're apparently paying for him. But what I would say is I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to score goals, because you come in with a price tag that big, you're just going to be expected to score 20 to 25 goals like the previous Peterborough United strikers. I think our problem with goal scoring is the creativity side of things. I think dropping from the 4-3-3 that we played last season to the one we're playing this season, where the 10 is now non-existent and we're playing with 2 8s as the modern people like Max like to call it. I think there's a big gap, isn't there, between the midfield and the attack. And I agree with you, Max. The midfield, now we've improved it, looks really good. I'm not worried about the defence. I think when Alex Bass comes in, he'll be one of the better goalkeepers in the division. I think we all woke up today expecting to sign a left winger. There's not many Odo fans left. I don't think Lisby should have any pressure on him to do anything this season. I think this should be a development season for him. I think we all wanted a left winger to sort of support that attack, and like you say, it doesn't look like we're going to get one. So I am with you. I think a change of system is what we need, and if that involves playing a number 10 again, then we'll have to just do it, won't we? It's just a shame that we started the summer off by saying Chris Clark isn't needed because he doesn't fit the system, and then when we tell him that he is transfer listed, we now play the system that he does suit, which is a bit backwards. But hey, we've improved the midfield, so yeah, perhaps the wing backs is the way forward. Who knows?
So Harry has asked me to check my Twitter DMs. Now I'm going to share this with caution because who knows who Harry's source is. But he said that the paperwork has been submitted for the deal from Rover's side and whatnot, medical and everything, but Peterborough haven't replied. That's what he's been told from Blackburn source. Should we take that one with a pinch of salt? But what we will do, I've got a game that I'd like to play with everybody. And the game is, on the 6th of May, we released our retained list. There were 22 players. Max is gone. No idea where he's gone. There were 22 players that were under contract. Would anybody like to guess how many of them are still at the club or we still want in our playing squad?
Oh, damn. That wasn't the question I thought you were going to ask. How many of them are still in our... So these are the ones that aren't on the transfer, the ones that we basically said we wanted to keep.
Correct.
Probably about 5.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I haven't counted yet because I started talking. But if you give me 10 seconds, I'll count them up. Let's run through it. So, of the 22, Will Blackmore transfer listed. Bastian Smith on the subs bench, but will probably end up in the under 21s. That's fine. He's a young goalkeeper. Harley Mills signed a contract extension. Adebisi cropped knee, so you can count him if you want, I guess. George Nevitt still here. Emmanuel Fernandez still here for now, I should say. Emmanuel Fernandez gone. Oscar Wallin, still here for now. Ollie Rose, gone. Dornelli, still here. Carl Johnston, still here. De Havilland, we want him gone. O'Brien Brady, rumours that he might be leaving. Archie Collins will be leaving. Joe Andrews, still here. Odo, I think pretty much everybody at this point wants him gone, so I'm not counting him. Kean Hayes, still here. Con Clark, transfer listed. Gustav Lindgren, still here and hopefully going to be the second coming. Malik Mothersill gone, and then you've then got Eddie Fox, who is still here, but I don't think has featured a great deal so far for the under-21s this season. I'm not sure whether he's injured or not. Pemi Aderoju, who's gone out on loan, and David Kamara. So I don't know if anybody was counting there, because I certainly wasn't. So now I'll go back and do the count. Lots, go on, fill the gap.
I was literally about to say you got halfway through, and I realised that one of me or Max should probably be counting, and I felt guilty because it clearly wasn't Max. There is a lot of people that were guessing in the comments. Somebody guessed 22 and someone guessed 2. So a wide range of answers there. I actually went back and looked at our reaction video to the retained list episode, and John wasn't on it, but I remember doing our retained list episode and how many people John transfer listed then. And actually, if you go back and compare John's transfer list to what we actually have on the list now, it's really, really similar. So I think we should probably trust John's judgment of player going forward.
12 is the answer from 22 are still going to be here. So that's 10 that have either left or we want to get rid of from that list. Obviously, there's then the made available for transfer. You've got Sparks, Brad, Bilo and Wakeling. At the moment, only 2 of those have gone, and Brad, he's definitely worth a discussion because, what a topsy-turvy event that was from the 6th of May, or I think it was the 1st of May that we played Rotherham, and Fergie basically said, he's not going to be part of the squad, transfer listed. Yeah.
Should we talk about Brad? Let's do a little bit on Brad, because I think everyone's got their own theories of what sort of happened. And I listened to the episode you recorded at the weekend that we released this morning. And I'm with you here, Ashley. I think what's happened is Fergie's come out and spoke about his attitude publicly and basically ruined any chance of us selling him on. And I think a part of the conversation of them building for the summer was, you need to get Brad back on side, get him doing something, whether it's in the friendlies or the start of the season, just so he's got a little bit of value and so that some clubs might come back in for him. Because, like we've said, Peterborough United's known for having Golden Boot winners, number 9s that score 20 goals a season. I think we all know that Gustav's not going to be that striker. And I think we knew that Brad wasn't going to be that striker. And something had to give. One of them had to go. And it wasn't going to be the one that Darius just spent £500,000 on. So I think you're right. I do think he has an attitude problem to an extent. I mean, Fergie has very high standards. He falls out with people all the time. I think Brad's just one of those that's fallen out with Fergie for that reason. But I do think that there was an element of us giving him the number 9 shirt, putting him back in just to build up his value a bit so that we could eventually sell him.
Brad is a really sore subject, but I think it's just complete sheer incompetence for somebody to just make a decision. I mean, Fergie was absolutely adamant, wasn't he? No to Brad, absolutely adamant. And then Darrow was like, "Oh well, why not? Why not?" And Fergie was like, "Oh well, I don't really know." And then he went to St George's Park, didn't he? And then it was, all right, we'll give him a go. We'll give him a run out. And he had a good pre-season. He scored quite a few goals. Had a good pre-season. He scored the penalty against Cardiff in the league. And then it seems to have fallen off the rocker again. And we're back to square one. And we're sending him to Shrewsbury. But that decision should have happened day one of the window, because that was the decision we initially made, was Brad was going. And then we've kept him. And now we've sold him on deadline day, or loaned him out on deadline day or whatever to Shrewsbury. It's like, well, this could have happened months ago, and we could have got a striker in to replace him months ago. And now we're scrambling on deadline day. And ultimately, now it's on the loan striker, which Darragh said he doesn't do. Like, we've just gone against all of our principles here to bring people in. And it ultimately feels quite desperate. But this could have all been avoided if we just stuck to our guns and sold him day one of the transfer window.
I just had a thought. DMAC says that all of our stuff is done. Now, that could mean that a contract was signed 4 hours ago. Technically, the deal's done. We just haven't announced it, right? That's a perfectly feasible option, is it not?
Yeah, you say that. I'm going to put up some comments, because apparently the rumor on Twitter is that Posh failed to submit their documents on time for the Blackburn striker. And following that, a few Rovers accounts are tweeting the same thing. I agree with you, Ashley. I think this is done. I think Darragh just playing with us. I think whether or not he was our first choice striker, I know he came out a few weeks ago and said there are no strikers available in the market. And I know we were linked with Mackenzie Kirk, weren't we, who signed for Portsmouth. Look, if he's a good enough striker to get goals at this level, then I'm happy. Like I said, I'm not sure the price tag's the right price tag. It seems quite high. Yeah.
Can I just say, right? Because I will crash out if DMAC has ghosted Blackburn. Like, it's like this is terrible. If he's just, they've submitted all their documents, they submitted the medical, and Darragh just put his phone down and gone, nah, I'm just not going to reply. Like, can you see how far-fetched that sounds? Like, it's so difficult to believe these rumors that are circulating. And we have to ask the question, would these rumors have been circulating if Darragh hadn't said, this is the end of our summer business? The answer is no, right? It feels to me like these are just made up to annoy us, and I'm not taking the bait. And if come 7 o'clock he's not announced, then I will crash out at the fact that we've ghosted Blackburn over a striker that we desperately needed.
I can't understand why we would do it though. Apart from maybe we were expecting more money to come in today and we actually don't have the money to pay them. But as far as I know, everything's done. Like I say, Ashley, I'm pretty sure by him saying our business is done, it's just he can put his feet up. He's agreed everything he needs to agree. It's down to other people and other clubs, and all he needs to do is tweet at 6:55 to say that the striker's in the door. John's just messaged on our chat saying Dara's not reading the room and that nobody's in the mood. And he's quite right, isn't he? Because I'm with you, Max. If we don't sign a striker at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be frigging livid. So, like, is that really what he wants us to do? He wants to play with our emotions like this, where, you know, we're actually going to be genuinely annoyed if he doesn't sign it. But if he does sign it at 7 p.m, we'll go, oh, thanks, Dara. Thanks for the striker. Thanks for paying £1 million for this guy that's not played for over a year and has this back injury. Like, John's right. He's not reading the room. Like, this is probably going to go down like a lead balloon.
Dara, I can just imagine the Hard Truth pod when it comes out, and Dara just going, oh, I had them all on strings. It's like, this isn't the time for this, to have us all, you know, thinking this is over. It's the end. We've not signed a striker. Twitter's in meltdown, and it goes, guys, I was just kidding. You know, we're bottom of the league, and we weren't going to sign a striker, but I was just kidding. We've had one done this whole time.
Yeah, this is the one for me, is that we've got, if we knew that Brad was going, we wouldn't, and we didn't have a replacement for Brad, we would have given the lad from Chelsea the number 9 shirt, wouldn't we? So we're not going to have a vacant number 9 shirt, surely, are we?
Has the lad from Chelsea got a squad number? Was that released?
Yeah, number 24 it was.
Okay. I
can't remember where I saw that, but it may have been in the article.
Do you remember when we tried to sell Johnson Clark-Harris on deadline day, and obviously it didn't go through, and we ended up, I think we signed Wakeling and Mothersill, didn't we? And we ended up the next day having 3 strikers when we thought we were only going to have 1. It feels like the opposite of that, where we've sold a striker, we've got in a striker, and then that's it. We're expecting another one, and he's not come in.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I've actually got a head loss at the moment. I'm still trying to. It was what? It's been nearly 35 minutes since DMAC announced that was our last signing, and I am still just trying to get my head around it. And we are pretty much waiting for 25 minutes time now to really hope. But then the problem that you've got is that we basically could have another hour before it could be done. If you remember back to this time last year, we had Katongo and Brad pretty much done after the window closed. Am I right in saying that? I think I think we'd gone offline, didn't we? Or was it what, Max? Were we on Borrow My Mind doing
it
live?
It was Borrow My Mind.
Off.
Yeah, it was Borrow My Mind, and Dara came on, and we got the video, didn't we? We got a photo of Katongo's trousers, and then we got the video of him walking out, didn't we? That definitely could happen, but by the same extension, like this striker isn't one that's, you know, a League One proven. This is a young striker that we've signed who's had a really serious injury, and if I will be so upset. I just feel like I'd be so deflated if we didn't go and get one more. I wanted 3, but 3 included Leonard. If we've got 4 and Leonard, and I just can't. If we've given Jimmy J Morgan the number 9 as well, like, it's when will it end? Like, you know, it's you know, I can't. There was no single part of me that believes we haven't signed Leonard, and I'm simply praying. But again, all it is copium, isn't it? Like, Dara could be telling the truth, and at which point I think that my head will be on Mars.
Well, it's transfer deadline day. We're going to make a transfer of our own. I'm going to kick Max off because we've got a special guest that we're going to bring on loan to tell us all about the Wrexham players. Max, thank you. You can come back later. I'm not getting rid of you completely just yet. Josh,
Hey,
thank
buddy.
you for joining us. Now, if this isn't a face that Peterborough United fans don't know, then that TikTok went viral for nothing. Am I right?
I mean, yeah, I embarrassed myself for good reason for you guys. Your largest TikTok of the year last year.
Yeah, big time. And a man that's just left the building to go to Shrewsbury, one of your rivals, scored that goal. So I think he who had not the last laugh, because obviously he went viral, didn't he, because of his Instagram stories and mocking.
Danger.
Yeah.
I like
Exactly.
Havovian. How do you say it? Havovian? How do you say his name?
I'll just call it Brad, Josh, if I'm being completely honest. Just stick with Brad. It's easy that way.
Okay. Yeah, Havovian. I picked him up on my EAFC 25, and he actually scored goals for me, which is great. Awesome. How you guys doing? Danger.
All good. Yeah, all good. Thank you. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I don't think I met Lots. Is it Lots?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I don't really go on opposition podcasts very often, so no, we've not met.
Oh, that's all right. You're always welcome to come on ours. Ash is gonna come on ours later too when you guys are done as well. Awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Josh,
Yep.
can you tell us about the two lads that we've got from you?
I think Stash is a steal. Tom O'Connor, Stash is a steal. I think he's going to play well for you guys. He could play on the left side of your. Do you guys play back 3 or back 4?
It's a 4 at the moment, but we think with all of the centre backs that we're hoarding, we've got 6 in the building now, that it's very quickly going to become a 3. So yeah, I think you're right in what you say.
I think he could be in the back 3. I actually think he's really good on the ball as a good midfielder. I really like him a lot. I think we're a detriment to us moving up so fast that I think he would have done very well for us if we had stayed in League One. This is Tom O'Connor. I think it's a really good signing for you guys. I'd probably put him in midfield. I don't know what your midfield looks like, but he's really calm on the ball, has a good pass on him. At 5'10", to be honest with you, I think he's 5'10" or 5'11". He wins a lot of headers. He does win a lot of headers. So he's a good player, really good player. I see your chat offside. Rio Taylor. Oh my God. Yeah. Offside? It could have been offside.
That was one of the ones, wasn't it? That he sounds like a player that could potentially replace Archie Collins if Archie Collins is going to go out of the door in the next 27 minutes or an hour and 27 minutes. If you're saying that he's comfortable in front of the defense, and then he would then naturally drop in and help cover defensive duties, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally, for me, I liked him in the midfield. I didn't think he was good in the back. Like I said, he did win a lot of headers, but for his profile at 25, 26 years old, I thought he played O'Connor. I thought he played better as a central midfielder, central defensive midfielder. I don't know who you have to dictate play. He can play in that back that back 2 on right or left side. But I put him in the midfield. I think it's great.
We don't. The problem is at the moment we don't really have anybody to dictate play because they're all afraid of the football, it seems, and just more than comfortable putting the ball in the back of our own net. I don't know whether you've seen, but we've only scored 1 play from open goal so far this season. It's been an absolute disaster. So 2 defenders from Wrexham is certainly not something that I think that Posh fans were expecting. You've obviously got an abundance of strikers at Wrexham, haven't you? So if you've got any that you would like to send our way, even though Dara said that our work is done, then maybe that might be a benefit as well.
I mean, we got Big Key for more, but you can't have them. You can't have them. So I think J-Rod's going to retire. I don't think he's going to make it. So if you want to take him down too, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to make the squad, but nonetheless, I just quickly moving on to, if you want to talk about Mendy real quick. I think he didn't really get an opportunity last year because he came off that injury, really bad tear. He's a lot of big power, pace for him. I think he'll do well for you guys. Do you have a left back or left wing back? How do you see him playing it?
I think the plan is probably for him to play further forward than coming in for his defensive abilities. I don't know. Is he more known for going forward than defending, or is he sort of in between?
I would say 2 years ago he would bomb up a little bit more. But he's a solid player. They have played him on the right a little bit at times too. I think this is probably maybe 2 seasons ago, and he was cutting on his left, had a nice shot on him. Crosses are okay, a little bit. You can play the triangles. He's got an engine on him. His injury was rather bad. He had that tear, but he should be fine now. But I think Mendy's a good, solid player, and you're getting 2 players that know how to. I'm just to say this in a way, know how to win. Not that y'all don't know how to win, or any other team doesn't. But I think at that level, I think League One level, having those 2 guys.
Definitely, Josh. We do not know how to win at the moment. Our last win was at Wembley. Just a competitive win, and before that was April the 1st against Crawley on a Tuesday night. So we need winners, and they're both back to back promotion winners with you guys, aren't they? So
yeah, they are.
I think that it's not experience to be sniffed at, of course, because Posh fans for years have been crying out for experience. It just feels like we've gone the total opposite direction at the moment, and we now potentially are going to be starting a back 3/back 5 with an average age of 27 potentially, if not higher.
Yeah.
Whereas previously it was 18, 19.
Yeah, I think you're getting 2 character guys in a sense. Like you're getting 2 guys that do know what it's like to be in the dressing room, to push forward, and to be leaders. I think Stash could. I don't know who your captain is. Just saying, Stash for me has always been leadership. I call him Stash, by the way. It's O'Connor. He has leadership qualities that I think he has that there for him to be a leader in the dressing room and on the pitch. So I would say that he will settle the team down a little bit too. Mendy again has been there as a back-to-back. They know what it's like. So if they'll bring some level-headedness there too to a younger squad, I think it's a good sign.
You said about Mendy's injury. Was that recently? Was he playing last season?
He did play last season, but it was at the end of the season prior. He came back a little early, and he completely tore. I believe he tore his hamstring, and he had to have surgery on it. So he went through all last season, not really getting a sniff. We had Rev in there. Maka, no one could displace Maka last season. So I think because Parkinson was really just like, I trust this guy. I'm not going to give him opportunities, but. He played a couple times this season. Mendy was on our Australian tour. You could see he's still trying to get up to speed. He was on the bench last couple of games, didn't quite get on, but he is at League One level. He will do a good job for you guys for sure.
I think my concern there is that you were only in League One for a season yourself, weren't you? So where you're talking about him being used to winning games and playing as part of a promotion winning side, if he didn't play much last season. Is he cut out for League One? Is he cut out to get us higher up the table, or are you just remembering him being good in League Two?
Well, true, good point there too. What I'm saying is he's been around the dressing room a lot. He obviously was in the team last year, whether he was training, not on the pitch. Parkinson, like him or hate him, Parkinson brings guys in that are there, that are pushing other players in training, and might not make the squad for games, but he's there and thereabouts to just push other players. So I think he's probably at his level at League One, his peak level. I'm not saying maybe it's League Two, possibly. You're right, because we only saw him really play in League Two, but I don't think he will embarrass himself or not put himself about. I think he'll do well for you on a 360 view of just the player, the person. I met him in person several times. Good guy, good locker room guy too. I think you need a little bit of that as well. That goes a long way.
Josh, is he quick? Is he pacey, getting forwards and backwards?
He's not quick, but he's not. I think he's probably top end, not like initial. I think he's probably top end quick. He's more powerful than quick. I say he's a little more powerful than quick. Uses his body very well. Could put a good cross in. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's pacey, but I think he's powerful. Like I said, he's not gonna beat you off the line, but he'll compete and he'll use his body well. He's very, very strong, very strong.
So no more goals conceded at the back post potentially, because that's certainly been a weakness of ours.
Well, that was a weakness for ours too. Not that it was his fault, but yeah, definitely a weakness for ours. But I think at the level of League One, and again, I think he'll do a job. I think he never got the opportunity to Lotz's point. that to actually play in a full season because of the injury prior. So we've left a lot of players in our wake in League One this season. The only player that dropped down to League, the only two players dropped down to League Two, Ollie Palmer and Mo Fall. So
yeah, do you know what you mentioned him there? Mo Farr was somebody that I was kind of interested in because you obviously brought him in last season, didn't you? And he, again, wasn't somebody that really got a sniff, not through any fault of his own. It was just that you were finding ways to win games. And I don't want to say and sound harsh, is that winning games by scoring loads of goals wasn't the Wrexham way last season, was it? It was very much
1-0 Kings. 1-0 Kings all day. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and he didn't get a chance. And actually, when he went to wherever it was that he went to, I was quite disappointed because I thought actually when he played us in that semi-final game, he looked dangerous against us, and we weren't the best at the back, but our back four for the semi-final and the final was probably one of our weaker back fours. Obviously, Manny's gone up to Rangers now and hasn't hit the ground running, and Oscar Wallen is not in England at the moment. He's gone back to Sweden for reasons unknown. I would have quite liked him, and do you think he would have been good with
I think he would have done
pacey partner?
I think it would have. I like your forward line. I like what you guys have. I like your squad. I think you have really talented. I wouldn't let Avovian. I wouldn't let him go. I really like him as a young 19-year-old. But I thought that Mo Fall, for me, this is my comparison, and everyone's like, "You're crazy." My comparison was he was like a Berbatov. Everyone wanted him to be something else, but he was like a Berbatov. You know, looked a little bit like gangly with his feet, but had good passes, good touches, had some nice goals. But Parkinson last year was really playing this like really small window. Like he didn't want to risk anything. He knew once we hit January and there was an opportunity, he just like tightened it down to the players he could trust. He didn't trust a Mo Fall, but I think Mo Fall is talented, and he would have been good at a place like to go to Posh for sure. Going down to Port Vale, I think it's who's their manager there? That's a good signing for them, but it would have been nice to see him come in for a League One side like yourselves.
Yeah, well, don't forget Port Vale did get promoted last year, so are in
League One.
Yeah, they are in League One. Yeah,
yeah. I thought they were in League Two. Sorry, my bad. So much is going on. Port Vale are in League One. Yes, I thought you guys would have done well with him. I thought he was League Two. So that's Ollie Palmer's the only one that went to League Two. That's right. My bad.
You clearly don't give a crap about League One and League Two. Now you've made it to the Championship.
That's not true. I care about everybody.
Going back to Tom O'Connor, some of the comments I've seen about him is he lacks a bit of pace. Is that something we should be worried about, or is he actually not as slow as what?
So I always go back to the pace argument with everybody when I go to this is the bad version, John Terry. Okay, when you're in that defensive role, John Terry didn't have pace, but he knew where to position himself. I think he's got good positioning skills. Again, he wins a lot of headers for a guy that's not 6'2", 6'3". So I think you're going to be impressed in that. But does he have pace? Will he get outpaced? Probably yes. So he's not going to be a speed merchant. He's more of a technical, heady player. So, but yeah, he's not coming in. He's not going to have bags of pace. But I think his positioning is very, very good. And to be honest, I would have kept him. I just think that Parkinson had signed players in we signed Callum Doyle, sorry. Doyle, I call him. Callum Doyle, which was no one's ever going to displace him in that left center, that left side of the three. But he does use his head more than his pace.
I think my worry with that is that on the opposite side, on the right-hand side of our defence, we play presumably Sam Hughes when he comes back from injury, and at the moment Tom Lees, and they're both not exactly blessed with pace themselves. So I worry that if we're playing a back two with them two, we're going to be relying on pace. And you say that Mendy might have lost his pace as well with his injury. So
I don't. Do you guys think if you play back three, I think Mendy covering that side and have our O'Connor there, he'll cover that for sure. So just how you guys going to send up? How you guys want to set up? But I think you're getting two quality players. So it'll definitely improve your squad. Definitely improve in the dressing room as well. So and sadly, I'm sorry to see Stash go. I think he had something about him. I think we just moved up too quickly.
If he does well, Tom O'Connor, how much do you think Wrexham will be looking at charging us if we wanted to keep him? Is he out of contract next summer, or is he?
You might have 2 years left. He might have two on him. Maybe it's 1 or 2, but maybe 18 months later. I don't think he's not in our plans. I definitely don't think we're in our plans.
I think he signed. I had a quick look, and I think he signed a 3-year contract last summer. So
2 years, right?
This time next year, he will have just a single year left. So I guess, and like you say, Josh, is that if Wrexham don't need him, they're not desperate for millions and millions of pounds in for the players, are they? So
yeah. We just paid off somebody's contract yesterday or the other day, mutual consent, whatever that was. So I think I think this is probably a 2-year project to get to the Premier League, in my opinion. We turned over about 12 guys so far this summer. So maybe we get into the playoffs. Maybe, listen, I know everyone's gonna be like, you're full of shit. Sorry to mean to swear in your podcast, but they're pushing for playoffs to get to the promotion either this year or next year for sure. So, but we're shedding players. We're moving up too fast. We are, and it could go pear-shaped really quick. But I think our goal is to be in the Premier League by within the next 2 or 3 seasons at latest.
Yeah, and Josh, just quickly, do you want to just tell us how it's gone so far for Wrexham this season? Because I certainly have not been paying attention. I've been looking at League Two more than the Championship so far.
I think we've been very competitive. I think we first game against Southampton, we should have won the game. Parkinson got over his skis. That game, I think he got out-managed in the last. We lost the game in about 30 seconds. Very competitive, though, I will say that. We've had injury issues. Windass went down with an injury, who I think is a really good quality midfielder for the championship. I think we lost our number 1 keeper this last weekend, Ward, who's broke his shoulder or elbow. But bringing good signings in, Parkinson's building out a brand new squad, and I think we'll be competitive. I want to get through this transfer window and get through this next 2 weeks of the international break, and then go from there. But we'll be there and thereabouts. We'll see. Everyone's rooting against us. We'll get everyone's best fist of it. But it's been frustratingly exciting. That's all I can say. Yeah. It's not going to be a walk in the park. But
I would rather be where you are than where we are at the moment. But thank you, Josh, for your insight. I'm gonna terminate the loan contract now quickly and bring Max in, but I will be sure to come and join you if you're live later on, and we can have another chat with you guys and panel on that. But thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Good to see you guys. Good luck this season. I'll keep one eye on, and good to chat with you guys. See you, lads. Ash, thanks for having me on. And yeah, Danger, you guys got us that day.
Thank you, Josh. Speak soon.
Speak soon. Bye, guys. Bye.
Max is back.
Hello.
Max, have you had time to reflect? Go on, lads.
Sorry, this whole, we need to talk about it. The Harry Leonard thing. It's got to the point where Elliot Jackson, who is a Blackburn Rovers reporter with 11,000 followers, even he's tweeting now that it's now in jeopardy in the 11th hour, and I still don't believe it. I'm sorry. I still just don't believe that it's collapsing. I can't see it collapsing. I just think this is all. I think Darragh has even gone to the extreme lengths of telling the people on Blackburn's side to play it down so that he can get that moment where he announces the strike. Honestly, that's what I think.
This is some serious straw clutching, by the way, that Darragh has orchestrated a horrific joke with all of the Blackburn media people, even the reporters on social media that have no affiliation to the club, and he's private messaged all of them and said, "I will give you a lot of money if you just shut up." Like, it's just not. This is it. It is done. He isn't coming, and this is ultimately heartbreaking that we've let Brad go and we've not brought in a striker to replace him. And Jimmy J. Morgan does not fit a Bradley Ahombian profile. He doesn't. If we're playing two up front, we need something. Like, this is lunacy. And if this is a joke, I don't find it very funny. I've been stressing. My hairs have been going grey since I can't even speak. I'm so upset already. And I don't even think him being announced will make me happier. My heart is in tatters.
I think this is what he wants. I think he wants us to debate it tonight on this live. So I think we should just change the subject and see what happens in the next 10 minutes. Talk about someone else. Someone.
I'll tell you who we'll talk about. Adam PFC's just brought it up. What free agents are about? Let's go and get Britta Sambalonga. He's the solution to the problems, isn't he? Is it John Jules? Is he the other available one, Matt? Yeah, that you tell me is amazing.
It's my favorite game every week. The PFA release who's with them, and my favorite game is which free agent would I take at Posh? And there's been a fair few. There was 1 week that there was 2 players that would have just been absolute vibes. I think it was like Luong and somebody else. It was some serious vibes that we were talking about. No legs in them. An ACL by October it would have been. But look, I would really have liked one more. And ultimately, if a free agent is what we have to go and get later on because this deal has collapsed, then so be it. But man, does it suck.
So many options. Go and get Crouchy. Con Clark up front. To be fair, that the Con Clark up front one, I'm pretty sure one of us suggested, right, in pre-season that there was a chance that he could play the 9, but then whatever, Fergie just decided that he didn't like him and that he didn't want to play him anymore, then nothing came of that, did it?
This is only happening because we've left everything so bloody late. I you know what? I was quite positive. I remember writing that article. We went to that sponsors event, didn't we, Ashley, before pre-season started. Fergie stood in front of that room and he filled everyone in that room with such positivity. He had this new lease of life. I think we'd signed Bass, hadn't we? We signed Frith, we signed Keller, really good signings. We were all so excited for them all. And then what happened? We just persisted with the rest of the rubbish squad, and to the point where we started losing league games. We got through all of our friendlies, barely scraped past teams like Boston and Milton Keynes. And then we decided that the players aren't good enough. And Chris Clark sums that up perfectly. We said at the start of the window, didn't we? We'll see how Chris Clark goes. We'll see if he, plays well in the friendlies. And I actually thought he did play quite well in the friendlies. We praised him for losing all that weight during the summer. He came back, he hit all of his targets. He played well in the friendlies. And then what we decided, he's not good enough. Like, it's just, why have we left it so late to decide that these players aren't good enough? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what was Chris Clark supposed to do in that period to get into the team? He should have just been told at the start of the summer he's not good enough, because I don't really understand what else he could have done during the summer to prove that he was.
Yeah, it's baffling, isn't it, really? And I would still... John was right, and we all called him negative, and John was right. This squad is pony. A lot of this squad is so poor. And John... and look, even now, he's still being negative. He's still trying to ruin our day.
Can we take a pause? Because John thinks that we're finishing 84.
It went from 54th to 68th, and now we're 84th. We skip League 2 and go straight to the National League.
I don't know what's happened. John's negativity is rubbing off on me. I'm just sitting here getting angry and angry. Yeah. I know how John feels now, because we could sign Harry Leonard for 1.3 million, and all I'm seeing is a striker that hasn't played in. It's either one, when we were talking about it the other day, it's either one that I said hasn't played 90 minutes in men's football for a year and a half. Is he that one? Is it like 18 months since his...
I don't... Yeah, well, yeah, he's broken his back, hasn't he? And then
we're paying 1.3 million quid for him, supposedly. We've not signed a winger to play alongside him.
Surely, hang on a minute. Surely, okay, this is the last bit of copium I've got to offer. But surely, if we were going to pay £1.3 million for him, we wouldn't have gone and signed 3 loans. We would have spent that money on other players and bought them permanently. We could have bought the left back from Wrexham for the money. We probably could have bought the centre back for the money. Surely we would have spent the £1.3 million that we were adamant we were going to spend on Leonard. Surely we were going to spend that and disperse it a little bit and get some permanent signings through the door. There's no way that we just sat on the 1.3 million because we'll spend it in January.
What if the 1.3 million never existed, though? I think that's the worry here. I think we've agreed the fee with them. We were hoping to get some money in. The money hasn't come in, and now we're gone, we can't do the deal. That's the only thing I can think of why this striker wouldn't come in. But I think he is going to come in. And honestly, I can't get excited about it. I think it's been ruined. I can't lie.
No, it hasn't, because D-Max just tweeted it. New main man up front, lots of money invested to acquire this young talent from Rovers. Harry has signed a 4-year deal. He makes his debut tomorrow night. Window done for us now. Rebuild finished with serious investment. I'm excited at what's to come, regardless of shocking start to the season. Time to rise. Time to score goals so we can all enjoy our football again as things settle down and new squad gels and starts to give us all some fantastic moments yet to come. Well done, Dara. Nobody cares because you ruined it an hour ago saying that was us done and you've ruined the atmosphere.
Can you imagine? This striker could be great. He could go and get 30 goals for us. We could sell him for 10 million this time next year. Why couldn't we sign him 2 months ago?
I've just opened the big present and it's a lump of coal. And hopefully the lump of coal becomes a diamond in 12 months' time. But
why
would you think? Look, 1 second, let me crash out for a second here, right? How can anybody, and I hope that he scores 30 goals for us this season. I really do. How can anybody be convinced that we've spent a ton of money, and I appreciate that it's happened in the past, but our recruitment in the last 18 months has been absolutely dreadful. How can anybody be excited over a £1.3 million striker that hasn't played for 18 months? Cool, he knows where the back of the net is, but he's got to get himself on the pitch. And no doubt, knowing our luck, he'll go on the pitch tomorrow. 3 minutes in, he'll get injured and he'll be stretchers out, down the hospital, job done, needs surgery. He's out for 4 years.
I, as usual, have positivity to offer. And that positivity is that we've spent big money on a player that is highly talented, and he is. His ceiling is high. We've seen that at his youth level. You know, he scored 17 goals for the under 18s. He scored 17 goals for the under 21s. He's come into Blackburn. He's scored a few professional goals for Blackburn. I think he scored 3 professional goals for Blackburn. So we know that there is a quality player in there. We've got him on a permanent deal, 4 years. We have our striker. We have our main man. We'll have our number 9 through the door. And ultimately, when we're looking at a back 3 with wing backs, 3 in midfield, a 2 up top system, I think he's going to thrive because I don't think the pressure is all going to be on him. Like I've said, we have goals throughout the pitch now. From midfield, we've seen, Hughes scored a few last season from corners. We've got wing backs, Kyoto especially, that's going to provide width, pace. We're going to be. I really do think this is drastically improved our squad. This signing, and although the argument is obviously going to be, well, look, he's unheard of. Look, he doesn't. He's he's unheard of, and all this sort of things. Look, at the end of the day, I really do believe that the change in formation and the signings that we have brought in are going to help us play. And ultimately, playoff push could be on.
I've seen enough. You're off, Max. Goodbye. Yeah, I've had enough of that. I'm not having it. I'm simply not. Max can sit in the wings. He's been subbed off. We've got no subs left, but I'm not bringing him back on. He can have a 5-minute timeout. Blue card. You're in the sin bin, Max, for 30 seconds. Lods, come on. You've sat there in despair, but please give me something.
Playoff push wasn't ever going to be on, was it? There was nobody that we could have signed that could put us in a playoff push with the budget that we have. Like I said, Leonard could go and score us 30 goals, but he's the difference between 17th and 12th. So realistically, we've signed a player that we're hoping to make profit on we could have a playoff push the season after if some of these other younger players develop to a level that the ones that we had last season haven't. Ashley, you've got news, haven't you?
Oh, it's just DMAC tweeting saying that basically this is so Darren Allport tweeted to DMAC on the Mendy signing. Trust the policy of the club, but really concerned about our striker option. Tom makes sense. And our ability to attract players over other clubs appears to have taken a knock. Can't be easy, but this is a real worry. Need wingers and strikers. Mendy and JJ won't resolve this. DMAX replied saying, I hear you, but I feel with 2 up front, we will change that concern. We have talented strikers in the building. Now we have to show that and improve them and work with them. Hard work starts now more than ever. And do you know what? I think that's my concern as such, is that Leonard may be fantastic, like I said. I said when we recorded yesterday morning that I still have that glimmer of hope that Gustav might be the striker that we need if he can have a friend. Now he's got a friend. And then obviously the lad from Chelsea, who's, I'll remember his name eventually. Is it Jimmy something? Jimmy J?
Jimmy J.
Jimmy
Morgan.
J.
Jimmy
Morgan.
J. Is that with a hyphen or is that without a hyphen?
Yeah,
So we
Jimmy J's
clarify that?
hyphenated. I think.
Right, wicked. I can't wait to call the club out on that when Phil tweets it wrong. Oh, here we go. John's in mega crash out mode now.
That's exactly what I was about to say. So they had their recruitment meeting, didn't they, before the last 3 games of last season? They had it nice and early. As far as I know, we decided we were going to carry on playing the same system. We didn't replace Joel Randall in the 10. We got lucky that Malik could play there. We then lost Malik and didn't replace him. And then we decided we were going to play a 4-3-3 with 3 deeper midfielders. And we've packed that in after 5 games. Like, we've had 3 different recruitment plans in 1 transfer window. I can't understand. Go on.
I've got a positive. I've just thought of it because somebody's coming in the comments. This 2 up top does mean the end of Abraham Otto, right? That's got to be a positive from this. If we take anything from this, a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, whichever way you want to look at it, does mean that we don't have to watch Abraham Otto play football. And surely, John, in the comments, surely you can give me some positivity on that.
It's a positive that we don't have to watch Otto play as much as we have been. But at the same time, why didn't we just get rid of him? He's still going to be in the squad, isn't he? We're still going to be bringing him off the bench to try and change games. He's not going to be able to, is he? We're going to be chucking on these wing backs and just hoping that they can create something. We tried that last season and got absolutely nowhere. I can't believe that, a club that prides themselves so well on their transfer business, their scouting network, they find these young gems, they develop them. I can't believe we got it so wrong last season. And we've had 3 different recruitment plans in 1 window. And how would we let that happen after the season we had last season? All of the business we've done in the last few weeks are great. Like the midfielders we've signed really good. I'm sure Leonard's going to be fine. Even like Bass and Hughes, good signings. Keller seems okay. Why have we not just done that at the start of the window? Why have we not just decided what system we're going to play, recruit for that system, get them all in at the start of the window? Why are we having this conversation 2 minutes after the window shut that we now have to let these players gel when we're already right at the bottom of the league with 1 point? First time we've ever gone the whole of August without winning a single game. And we now have to hope that these players gel quick enough to get us back up the table, because we could be in November and still be talking about relegation. And then where does that leave Fergie? Is he going to walk? Is he going to get sacked?
Okay, I've had my moment. I'd like to think about some positives now. We said on Saturday, it's not that positive, Max. Just hold the fort. Let's just take a moment to breathe, right? Yeah. So let me just go back to that one because Posh fans just said it. Yeah, the Swedish window is closed. It closed on Friday at 5 o'clock, so they're not going anywhere unless, of course, like Lod says, we cancel some contracts and then they can go and sign for them for free if that's something that Sweden allow. On Saturday, we played the 4-3-3 and we made some subs. We brought on Hayes and we took off Otto and then we moved Lisby up front and then Hayes was playing right wing back. I would rather us go the other way. And let's say that we're playing 5 at the back and we do concede a goal. I would rather us then go, well, we need to chase the game now. So let's take off a defender. Let's take off a midfielder and let's put 2 wingers on in Lisby, in Hayes, in Frith. I'm pretty sure that we think that Frith can play up front as well, right? So he's potentially another striker option. I think that there is a chance that's more exciting, isn't it? Like you think in the first half, we're defending with London Road behind the players. We see a 1-0 out or we're 1-0 down. And then second half, we know that we need to go and chase the game. You've got those exciting players that can come onto the pitch and will hopefully bring a lease of life to this team. That's where I'm at. That's where my positivity is at the moment. And I think that tomorrow's going to be the start of that. And I really, like I say, I really do hope that we now don't go and get. And this is probably a good time to mention that predictions are open for the Predictions League, the Next Level Barbell Club Predictions League for tomorrow's game. So if you want to submit that, I don't know whether I've got all of the hosts' predictions on here. No, that's Exeter. I'll go and get them in. Just Max, cover me. I'm going to go and get the predictions.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, rewind there. I completely agree. I'd much rather start a back five and bring wingers on to chase the game and go to one up top and try that system again with a 10. Ultimately, if we can make it to the 70th minute without conceding, we have impact subs like Hayes who can look extremely good when coming off the bench to create an impact. We've got players like Frith, like Lisby, who have looked relatively lively. We've seen Frith in very limited times. We've seen Frith, but Lisby's impressed in terms of looking lively. We have options now, which is good because I felt like Fergie was stuck to this system that he had to play, and he's just tried to tinker too much with the system, and ultimately it's failed. And that's a disappointment to see. But I'd rather start more defensive and then go more attacking than go more attacking and bring wing backs on when we're chasing a game. Because Ashley has said it so many times. Nobody wants to see a centre back when you're 1-0 down come on the pitch, do they? Nobody wants to see that. You want to see attacking substitutions. You want to see you try and get control of the game. You want to see you go after the game. And I think we've got the resource to do that now. I think we've got the option to go and really try and fight for games when we need to. And ultimately, I think it is such an improvement from what we had. And there's a lot of unknown, but when is there ever not a lot of unknown with Posh? You know, this is no different to how it usually is. There's a lot of unknown, but there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of option, and with the right resolve and the right characters in the dressing room, you know, Josh said it earlier when he came on, we've signed 2 Wrexham players that are going to come in and give us character in the dressing room. We've got Cole Johnston, who gives us character in the dressing room. You know, PK is a great character for the dressing room. I cannot help but feel that there's going to be a different feel around this club. And I don't know when it's going to start, but I'm really hoping that we can turn it all around and get our first win of the season against Leyton Orient on Tuesday, regardless of whether it's the Virtue Trophy, because we've got a really difficult trip to Huddersfield on Saturday if it's not postponed. And I really would like a win under our belt and let these new signings show us what we can expect, regardless of the competition, because we need to go out and win what's in front of us, because we haven't done that yet. Let this team show us that there is a fight. There is an element of resolve. There is something that they want to play for. They want to play for our club. They want to play for our badge. They want to play in front of the fans. Let them go and prove that now. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to.
I'm going to put the predictions up so that everybody can see them. Obviously, if you've listened to this morning's episode, and I'll also put the website up there. Sorry, Max, your prediction isn't going to survive. That's the website. If you want to get your prediction in for tomorrow's episode, I need to announce the winner of the first August monthly set of results. I need to go and work it out, actually, if memory serves me correctly. But I think that there's reason to be slightly more positive now than those predictions. They were obviously, like I said, they were done at 7:30 yesterday morning when we recorded. I think that we've made a clear identity change now. Like John said in the comments, why did it take so long to realize? Like, if we run back to when I was going through that retained list, why did we have so many players that now we don't want? That's my concern. Deflating.
I've just seen a tweet from Connor, and he's tweeted basically the names of every player that we've now got in our senior squad. I've just counted them. There's 31, and that's not even including players like Mendonca and Bolu and other youth players that are probably training with the first team. 31. Like we could have an 11-a-side versus an 11-a-side and still have a 5-a-side game going on next to it. It's a lot. We've never been in this position before, and I think people are quite rightly questioning what exactly the wage cap is, because we were worried about it a few weeks ago, and now we've got 31 senior players.
This is ridiculous, isn't it? I cannot believe that we haven't. We're definitely going to rip contracts up, aren't we? I can't see a world where we don't. We're definitely just going to pay people's contracts out because 31 players is ridiculous. As Lord says, Fergie's never been in this situation before. Hardly any managers anymore have been in this situation where they've got 31 senior players. And this is my biggest gripe with all of this is what has happened this window to make us take so long to make any sort of decision? And it feels like the sheer incompetence to make a decision is what's let us down here. We've got 31 players now on our books. Talk about the wage cap, talk about FFP. Darren's been the one that said it the most about the wage cap and the struggles that we have. And we've always, that's what the excuse was when we couldn't sign PK in January. We have to look at the wage cap. We don't have the resource because of the wage cap. I'd like to spend as much as I could on any player I want, but I can't because of the wage cap. And now all of a sudden we've got 31 players in the building, and we've got depth at least. I mean, that's a positive, right? But still, 31 players, people are just going to be sat around twiddling their thumbs and being paid to do it. Like, I can't understand why we haven't made this decision sooner. It's something that's really worrying for me. Like, that we've got, it doesn't feel like we're like ruthless. I thought that's what we were going to be. Fergie said we were going to be ruthless in the transfer market. Where's that ruthlessness? Where's that ability to make a decision and terminate a contract or send them off to National League or all of that sort of stuff? There hasn't been. 31 players is insane.
Yeah, I think it's stubbornness, isn't it? We thought that these players were going to develop, and I think we've waited too long. We wanted to give them another summer for whatever reason, and we were unable to sell them in time before the window shut, and that's the reason why we're in this mess. But it's actually going to have a negative effect now on the young players that do have room to develop. Players like James Dornelli, who probably would have seen quite a lot of game time this season until we signed Peter Chioso. You got to question how much game time he's actually going to get. I'm sure when Harley Mills signed his new deal, he was probably told he was going to be our starting left back. And now we've signed Mendy, and Dara said that Mills won't be able to play 100% of the games. Whether you agree or not, you got to question whether it's good for these players' development or not, having a squad this size. Going back to the comment I actually just put on the screen about if we've actually signed anyone, and going back to Harry Leonard, who we probably should be talking about. He's not even taken the number 9 shirt. Apparently he's taken the number 27 shirt, which is just baffling. So we're going into the season without a number 9. I mean, squad numbers don't really mean anything at the end of the day, do they? And then the other funny thing from that is that reporter that with 11,000 followers that said that the deal's about to collapse. He's now deleted the tweet. So I think he was strung along as well. I imagine Dara's probably told Blackburn that he wants it to be a nice little surprise for Posh fans. And can you feed into your local reporters that it's collapsed? Just say that I've ghosted you or whatever. There's a lot of that goes on at football clubs, isn't there? I think people think that journalists have the upper hand on football clubs, but I think it's a bit of back and forth. I think football clubs also have journalists in their pocket at times as well.
Yeah, I know, Lods, you've just said that you want to focus on Harry Leonard, but I want to focus on getting rid of some players now. Like we mentioned, or it's been previously mentioned, let's say, that we had some disruptive people in the dressing room last season and even going into the new season this season, in that you've got adults that are now potentially going to be sat around either taking up a spot in an under-21s game if we play them there, or ultimately just coming in and training with themselves, training in amongst the 5, 6, 7, 8 of them that there are. So the comments are that the Scottish window's open till 11 o'clock. Is there anybody that you think goes north of the border? I can't see it being either of the two goalkeepers. Maybe there was links for De Havilland up that way, I think, if I'm right. O'Brien Brady potentially as well. Who else is there? I can't really think of anyone else that would head that way. Wakeling.
Brian Brady's another one. We've not spoke about him, but how far down the pecking order has he got now? He's another one that has avoided our transfer list. McAntony still praises him when he can publicly. What's the plan with his development? Because he was further up the pecking order last season. So we've gone a whole season further and put him further down. Rightly so. I definitely rate Brian Brady, but it's like, what is the plan? Are we trying to develop these players? Do we want to get rid of these players? It's just the fact it's not clear, I think, is the worrying sign. But yeah, I didn't know the Scottish window was still open, so perhaps the Ryan de Havilland deal will go ahead. I think when I looked up his name this morning, I think there was 3 Scottish teams he was linked with. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't really follow Scottish football, but I imagine he's probably been up there speaking to these clubs, and he's probably had a decision to make today.
Yeah, and then Walling, we've still not heard anything about him. Obviously, if he was looking for a move, that would have had to have been done on Friday. So, bizarrely, the only player that we've lost today is Brad, which is somebody that come August the 1st we were going to keep. I think that's the most bizarre thing of it. Like, how bad are these players that nobody wants them? Nobody in League Two wants them. They clearly don't want to drop down to the National League, even if that's where potentially they would be best suited from an opinion side of things. But for there not to be anyone that wants them in League Two, that says a great deal for me.
I think League Two clubs are actually making some of them are making. I think there's an element. Ryan de Havilland, for example, I mentioned it earlier. I think he could play League Two. Abraham Oddo could definitely play in League Two, maybe towards the lower end, but he was fine for Harrogate. Like, he was a fine League Two player. Like, he could go down there and perform. Whether we want to sell Oddo or not is a different story, but I'm just rattling some players off. I think Chris Con-Clark could probably go to a lower League Two side as well. I think he's shown enough in the National League that he could probably do 1 step up. Maybe 2 was too far. So there's players that we've got that League Two clubs could bid for. I just think outside clubs look at the noise that has surrounded us this summer, and they look at the players' performance in League One and think they're not good enough. Actually, I think the atmosphere around the club at the moment is preventing a lot of them from reaching. Not that I think any of them, a lot of them are League One level, but I definitely think a few would do a job in League Two. And there's clubs out there like I think I've got a mate who's a Chesterfield fan. He's been absolutely banging on about we need a centre back. We need a centre back. You know, we could have loaned George Never out. I would have had no problem loaning George Never out down to League Two. With this, you know, we brought in a centre back on loan today. We no news on Wallen. We could have loaned George Never down to League Two if we wanted to free up some wage space and give him a season in the lower level. I think he's performed really well actually in the last 3, even against Exeter. I didn't think he was one of the worst on the pitch. So, you know, there's League Two quality on our squad. I just can't understand why we haven't given them out. It doesn't make sense to me.
Do you know, I think the only thing with Never is that I said it previously, didn't I? That sometimes Fergie and Kieran Scarf and Rooster all probably think that actually what's the point in loaning these players out to lower levels? We saw it with Charlie O'Connell, I think it was, when he went to Woking. He was good there, but he didn't really get the game time that we thought he was going to get. We were meant to send Manny to Barnet, but then didn't because, again, we thought that maybe our coaching in-house was better. Charlie's just pulled up the numbers. 11 defenders. I'm pretty sure, is it not 12? I think it's 12 if you include Adebisi in that. If you can include that, but 5 goalkeepers. That's a lot of goalkeepers. That's a big goalkeepers union. I certainly wouldn't want to be part of that goalkeepers union. That's for sure.
The goalkeeper situation is really funny because do you remember sort of the back end of last season? Fergie kept saying, didn't he? He kept saying, "I've got 3 goalkeepers. I shouldn't have 3 goalkeepers. I've got a decision to make." And then Jed went. We transfer listed Bilo immediately. Blackmore went on the transfer list later on in the window. We've signed 2 keepers since, and I've ended up with 5. How does it happen? How does it happen? Like, who's in charge of selling players, and what have they been up to this summer?
Well, it's Barry Fry, is it not? The best director of football in the business, and he can't get people out the door. That's his job, isn't it? It's his job to sell the players, and he's failed ultimately. That is surely the case in point. That's where he's at. Pause. We've got another man to come in. This is a very warm-headed man. I'm going to change our background so it looks nice when I add him in.
Good
everybody.
And everybody's gonna get hokey cokey. John, hello. Have you cooled down yet?
I'm not that warm-headed. It's just a mess, like you boys were saying. Really, it's just a complete mess, isn't it? It's just a bit of a shambles. I don't really know what else you can say about it. It's just, well, like I said in the last pod, they say trust the process. What the fuck is the process, honestly? Like, I mean, Fergie's going to be leaving 13 players out of his matchday squad. How do you manage that? It's genuinely insanity what we've just done. I mean, the good news is the starting 11 now probably gives Fergie very little excuses. It shouldn't be 24th in League One, I don't think. But if Harry Leonard gets injured and the kid's got a bad back, he's going to have an even worse back carrying this squad around. If that goes, if his back goes again, we're in trouble, aren't we? Because who else is going to play up front? Especially if you're playing two up top. But yeah, I mean that line. Oh well, they'll look good when they play two up top. Well, if you thought that, why don't you bloody try it in August? You know what,
John,
one up top.
I assume we're playing a 5-2-1-2, right? Similar to how we played when we got promoted.
Yeah, we've got to be.
You're obviously not a fan of Odo. Where's the creativity? Like, have you seen enough in Lolos and even Garbett? I know we all praised Garbett for his performance at Exeter, but is he sort of the creative player we need to, get those goals? Because my worry is that Leonard, he's going to have all this expectation that he's going to get all these goals, and I think the service is going to be absolute scraps for him, even still without the wingers.
I mean, Kioso will give us something down the right, I would say. Mills can put in a decent cross. Mendy seems energetic from what I've read about. But yeah, you have to say it's a concern. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of 5-3-2 in any way, really, but it does make me laugh how we set up with a system that was solely reliant on wingers, and the wingers were going to be our source of creativity, and that was all the lines in July and June, and now we're the 1st of September, and we've done away with wingers. The wingers won't be playing football down the wings. What is going on, honestly? There is just no plan, is it? It's literally just grab as many players as you can and hope they work. We're not even a young squad anymore either, by the way. I reckon the average age of this starting lineup's probably in the upper echelons of the average age across the league. Yeah, I don't know. We're just bumbling around, aren't we? Praying that if we throw enough shit at the wall, some of it might stick.
Yeah, I think this. I'm more confident today than I was even going into the Exeter game in terms of the starting 11. Yeah, you say, John, it's interesting. I hadn't even thought of that we've based our whole model in recent years off being young and hungry, haven't we? And even after the loss in the playoffs to Sheffield Wednesday, and Dara came on Spaces and went, the old heads didn't do a lot. The old heads, bottled it in the biggest moment. We've now reverted that, haven't we, and gone back on it and turned to old heads again. And we've been crying out for some sort of experience. I didn't think getting older players in this capacity was the answer to that. I just think that the midfield is going to be such a crucial part of this system, and I can't help but think that we're going to be far more successful with Garbett and Woods. I mentioned it earlier. Woods had 16 goal contributions in League Two last season. 11 of those were goals from midfield. And with a back three, it gives license for Garbett and Woods for Woods especially, to do what he does best, which is be that box crashing number 8 and take shots from wherever. He's far better at taking shots than Archie Collins is, and we saw what Garbett can do against Exeter in that first half. I mean, the way that he can dummy a ball and spray it out within 2 touches is something that we haven't seen really in quite some time in midfield. And this is the thing for me, is that I mentioned earlier that there is probably goals in the squad that we haven't been able to see yet. And I think the system has actually been a hindrance to a lot of the creativity. I don't think we need to play with a number 10 even now. I think we can play with 2 8s and a 6 if he wanted to, but Archie Collins not being a 6, more of a dictator of play rather than a defensive midfielder by nature. I think we're going to be able to dominate possession easier than we have been doing in the 4. Because we're going to be able to play it around with more options at the back. But also, you know, we're going to have Mills and Kyozo basically pinning the fullbacks in, aren't we? Because that's what Kyozo did in the overlapping runs. That's what Kyozo did, wasn't it, in the season, the Oxford season, where we lost in the playoffs there. Kyozo would overlap the winger. Obviously, we now don't have a winger, and Kyozo will be our main source of width, but they'll have pinned the fullbacks right in. So if the system works out, we're going to be able to dictate play even better. Chance creation is obviously a problem, and it's something that I've had a gripe with since the very start of the season. We have really struggled to create chances. But I'm really excited to see Garbett get 90 minutes of fitness in his legs, because there was definitely a drop-off in that second half, wasn't it? And I think that was down to match fitness, but also to see Woods come back in and see what he can do, because at League Two, he smashed it in that role of creating chances. You know, 5 assists and 11 goals is not nothing to scoff at. Definitely ready for the step, and Garbage just looked a cut above. So I think games could be won and lost with our midfield, and I think our midfield is quite strong, and that's something that I am definitely looking forward to. And that's not even talking about Leonard being such a big gamble, but a gamble that could really pay off if he's as good as the stats probably say he is. I mean, he succeeded at under 18s, he succeeded at under 21s, and scored a few professional goals for Blackburn. That's not necessarily like enough, but you know, we talk about signing young, hungry strikers and selling them on. That's what we've been sort of known for. This is exactly that profile. It's a profile that fits. The only problem is that he fractured his back, and we don't know how well he's going to play. But I like to wait for a proper expert opinion on that before I make a judgment. But yeah, it's a gamble. But I think the midfield is going to be so integral to the system, and maybe give us some opportunity to create more chances than we have been.
Well, Max, I'm so delighted you said this is going to allow us to keep possession more, because what I've been crying out to see a little bit more of from this Peterborough team is to watch the centre-backs pass it around between themselves. I've really missed that this season. So the fact that we can do that more often is really good news, Max. Cheers for that. I mean, well, the last thing we need is more possession. We need more people forward. But
we are going to get more people forward. I've just said Kyozo and Mills are going to pin their fullbacks in, and we're going to basically in possession have 4 people up front with the back 3 spread and the midfield pushing up and crashing the box. So we're going to have more players forward. Right now, we've got 4 at the back. Cole Johnson's has been stood like a stationary mannequin at the back. And when you talk about defence, we're not going to have that anymore. We're going to have the 3 centre-backs in, but we're going to have fullbacks that can press up and hold the wingers in, hold the fullbacks in. And as well, we're going to have gate-crashing options through the midfield. It's not like I'm saying that we're going to piss around at the back with it even more, which we probably will. But in the system, well, I'm not saying that that's something that's definitely going to happen. What I am saying is, in essence, we should have more people forward to create more chances. But again, I haven't seen enough. This system is going to be brand new to me, because I haven't seen. I don't know if this system's going to work. But also on paper, it seems quite an interesting thing that, you know, we've been crying out for change. This is change that could work, I think.
I agree with you, Max. I'm just winding you up, mate. I'm just winding you up. I think the good news is, we haven't really mentioned it, is that Archie Collins has stayed. There was fear within me that he was going to leave, and I do think that is good news. I don't know if Ash necessarily thinks that's good news, but I still think he's a really good player, and I do think the midfield of Collins, Woods, and you'd think Garbett, which is probably going to be our first choice 3, you would think at this stage. I think that's got a degree of potential. Collins is not going to have the excuse to be able to drop into that back line and collect the ball, though. If we're playing 3 at the back, he needs to play more advanced than he has pretty much all season. So he is going to have to chip in with goals, and he is going to have to chip in that sense. So that was one bit of good news. Look, the starting lineup does look better now than it did a day ago, let's say. But when are these players going to be fit as well? We haven't answered that question, have we? When does Mendy, O'Connor, Leonard, none of them have been playing loads of first team football. So Are we still waiting another couple of weeks on these boys as well?
But do you think that there's a chance that one of these that we've signed is potentially going to play international football, and that if we got it done early enough that we could have called the game off? Is that a chance? The Huddersfield game?
Who knows?
Well, Leonard's not making the England team. Is Mendy from Gambia? Is that right? I saw a Gambian commenter on the Wrexham post.
Sounds like we need to do some research, doesn't it? Or if I go to Wikipedia.
It is a bit of a concern, though, isn't it? It's another negative of this window is pretty much every player we've signed has had some sort of fitness or injury concern. Like, it's become a meme this summer that we sign a player and they look really good on paper, and then somebody will point out that they broke their leg last year and they haven't played since 2023, and it's like, oh, not another one. I'd like to think as well, like Tom Lees, for example. Yeah, great experience, good signing, good replacement for Hughes, but Hughes got injured for a couple of months and we've replaced him with someone that hasn't played 90 minutes since February. It's like, is that really, like, it's a big risk, isn't it? I don't think Lees was terrible against Exeter, but like you say, John, Leonard could literally injure his back tomorrow in his first game, and then we're back to square one, aren't we? We've not given these players a chance to actually show that they're fully fit, and we're basically at risk now between now and January of crippling all of our players and having the exact same squad that we had at the start of the window.
Can we play a game? And can we play a game of who plays tomorrow night? Because I don't think that Tom Lees plays tomorrow night, because he said in his interview after the game, didn't he, that, like you said, lads, he hadn't played 90 minutes since February. He said that 90 minutes was tough and that he just sort of just about got through it. He said that he basically needed 4 or 5 days off after that. So are we going to see Tom O'Connor come in, do you think?
Well, I'm sure, because they commented on Harry Leonard playing tomorrow, haven't they? I'm sure they would have commented on the other two playing if they were fit enough or if they were ready to play tomorrow. In fact, you know what? They haven't even come to the club, have they? It was something you pointed out before we went live, before Ashley. I don't even think they've come to the club to even train with the squad. So I'll be very surprised if either of the two that have come from Wrexham will play tomorrow. And I know you guys were discussing, playing some of the youngsters like Mendonca, for example, who looked quite good in pre-season. This would be the exact sort of game that you'd want to chuck him into, see how he gets on. But now we've got so many centre-backs, it's like, when is Okagboy going to be able to play now? Because we've got so many centre-backs that he's not even going to... I don't even think he's going to get much game time in the league now.
Are we going to test out the 3-5-2 tomorrow as well? Because if we are, then I assume Mendonca will play, because if Lees isn't playing, who else have you got? It's got to be Okagboy, Nevitt, Mendonca, right? I can't, unless you're playing O'Connor.
Well, unless Wallin gets a Concorde back from
Sweden.
From Sweden. Or we put him in a flat pack shipping container and it gets an express route.
Has anyone seen Villa Capic, by the way, or is he in Australia? Does anyone think he's in Australia? Has anyone seen him?
He was at the Bradford and Barnsley game. He came on the pitch after the Bradford game, so he was here. Whether he's still here or not is a different question.
That's another thing, isn't it? Reyes isn't going to be able to play, so you've got another question about the two goalkeepers we have in our squad tomorrow. Somebody said that Bass might even be fit, but I mean, we're assuming that Bastian Smith's going to start, right?
Yeah, that's what I said when we recorded, is that if Fergie said that they're done, well, I mean, Fergie's backtracked before, hasn't he, on multiple different players, but surely you don't see... I know the comments are saying that Bass will be fit, but do we really risk Bass in a Virtue Trophy game? Are we really that desperate to go back to back to back, do our own Wrexham in the Virtue Trophy that we risk his foot? I can't see it.
No, neither can I. No, don't risk it. Seriously, I think actually I'd like to get knocked out in the group stage, please, and just focus on staying in the league would be really nice. Being the cup runoff for a change, and let's just focus on winning some league games. Don't risk people's fitness. Don't risk players like Lees and the players who look raggedy. Just don't do it. Just please learn from our mistakes. Look how many we've got out injured. Just please get grouped and then focus on staying in the league. The only competition I am bothered about is if we can maybe go a few games in the FA Cup and play a Premier League team away. That's the only thing I'm bothered about this season. Other than that, and even then, I'd rather stay in the league than go to Everton's new ground or something like that. Like it's just, please, just get grouped.
Get grouped. Is that a term? Feels like we're appealing to our new Wrexham fans or the Americans. Does it not, Max?
Danger.
No, we had an American on earlier. I thought I'd fit the style, and get knocked out in the group stage. Then it's just a bit of a mouthful.
I just want to go back to say, how bad are the players that we're trying to sell that none of them got a club? It's genuinely quite embarrassing that they were clearly up for sale, and the likes of Ryan de Havilland, Chris Clark, we all know the names. It shows, doesn't it, just how dire they are, that they're that unappealing to League Two clubs that nobody wants to even take a punt on them. And you can't even blame League Two clubs for doing it. The only one who got to move was Brad, and Brad's probably the only one that showed anything since pre-season, isn't he?
Yeah, Carl's just dropped this message in and playing the unwanted players for a showcase game. The problem is, the only place that they can go is non-league if they're playing tomorrow. And we saw, who did we have that went to non-league last year? It was Ajiboy, and did Critchlow go to Dagenham and Redbridge? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You think about it, the likes of Clark, Bilo, de Havilland are probably all the same. They're all the same batch, aren't they? They were just fortunate enough to somehow justify staying on the retained list that now we want them off it and gone.
Do you think Dara's stormed into Fergie's office and said that he's an idiot for not rating Donny O'Brien Brady like he said to me on the live?
I think that he's holding on to him just so that he might get a game tomorrow if he's still here. But surely at least we've got. My only hope is we've got 3.5 hours now until the Scottish deadline closes. Surely we can get rid of at least 2 of the 7 or 8, please.
That Ryanair flight to Glasgow is going to be busy, isn't it?
Well, I've got 4 seats in the back of my car. If we need to get them up there, I can do it quickly. We'd have to do it at the border, though. I'm not sure that I could get up to Glasgow in 3.5 hours.
Oh, it is seriously depressing, isn't it? Yeah, who is going to go to? But the thing is, like Scottish clubs, let's talk about it. They're not appealing to Scottish. There's no recruitment models that's going to be like, yeah, you've got to go and get de Havilland, or you've got to go and get O'Brien Brady, or I don't know, the list goes on. That Wakeling. What about Wakeling? The guy might not. What's going to happen to him? He might need to study an apprenticeship or something, I think, because no one's going to come near him, are they? If you're in, we've ruined his career. He was doing all right at Swindon, wasn't he? And now, what level does he go to?
Well, is this not the point? Is that we signed him because we thought that JCH was leaving. JCH didn't leave, and then he just literally didn't get a sniff at all. Similar to Shimanga as well. Like, look, these aren't good footballers, are they? Like, you can see where they've finished up, but these players haven't been given a chance. Yes, we say they're given a chance, and then you have somebody like Lindgren, who we are just going to have another 4 months off now, aren't we? Until January, until we hopefully see something or decide that maybe he's good enough or not good enough. Do you know what? Ever since that DMAC tweet announcing the left back has just completely deflated me. Carl Kurtz said, 1 second, Max, you can go after this. Carl Kurtz said that Wakeling is the new Adil Nabi, but that's a little bit harsh because Wakeling at least features in photos on the club website. Adil Nabi just completely disappeared, didn't he, off the face of the earth?
Yeah, so we were having this discussion. Was it earlier on today, actually, where I said we haven't seen Wakeling since he came back for pre-season, and you said no, he's in the pre-season photos, the training photos. But then I pointed out that Will Blackmore's not been seen since, and he genuinely hasn't, has he? He missed the whole of the summer, and I think the rumor was that he was seeing some sort of hip specialist, and then he came back after Bass got injured, and he wasn't in the squad because he had COVID. And then all of a sudden, he was slipped onto the transfer list that was like not even announced properly, was it? It was just, oh, there's players in the squad that aren't wanted anymore. And all of a sudden, De Havilland, Blackmore, and Chris Clark were all on the transfer list. And he still hasn't been seen since. Like, has anyone bumped into him in public? Like, does anyone know where he lives? Like, has anyone checked on him recently? Like, genuinely, like, is he okay? Where is he?
Well, yeah, like you say, the last time that I saw him was in a pre-season day 4 photo where he was doing some goalkeeper drills. I've got some bad news for you, Mark. Unfortunately, this is the deadline day live, and until we get rid of at least one, we're going to have to talk about the crap that we've got. I think we're nearing the end anyway, so I think that we'll probably give it till 8 and hope that at least somebody goes. But how do you manage? It's been commented before. How do you, if you are Darren Ferguson, how do you manage 13 players? And you can drop that down to 10 with the injuries, but you're still leaving 10 professional footballers out of a squad. Now, some of them will know that they're not wanted, but let's say that that's 5 or 6. You're still left with 4 or 5 every single week. Are we just going to have constant rotation through the squads? Is that where we're at? I don't know.
Well, Fergie said he wanted a small squad. He was saying that when we had like 25 in the building, and then we've added another 5 or 6 in the last week of the transfer window. So who knows what he's thinking now? We're almost like the lower league Chelsea at this point, aren't we? We've got so many players. It's just Chelsea managed to get them all out to Strasbourg or somewhere like that, and we can't even get them to St Mirren. Like we're just bumbling around trying to advertise them anywhere and everywhere, and can't get rid of them. Honestly,
I did see a funny tweet from Jake Gardner. He said, "Chelsea badge, Chelsea squad size."
Yeah, it's what it feels like. Also, how much money? We're not in the most healthy financial position from what we can all deduce. How much money are we wasting in wages at this point every single week? If there's, let's say, 14 players out of the squad, it's got to be 40 grand a week, isn't it? It's got to be 160 grand a month.
I think there's been obviously a lot of conversation about whether we should be blaming Fergie for the mess we're in, or whether we just pin all the blame on Darren. And I just can't imagine a world where Fergie hasn't said to him, "What are you doing? Like, how have we ended up in this situation where we've got all of these players I don't even want, players I told you were rubbish 2 months ago, and they're still coming in, and I've got to coach them every single day." Like, I can't imagine a world where Fergie's just bit his lip and gone, "Yeah, I'll take some of the blame for this." Like I said, John, how does he manage a squad that big? I don't think he's ever had to manage a squad that big before. Like, that's not what he's about. That's not what he's here for. He's here to give some really good one-on-one coaching to players with high potential. And now he's got a squad of 30 players where a third of them are at the age where they probably don't have much room to develop now. We're not going to sell them on for a massive profit. Where do we go?
The other issue is you've got players like, let's talk about Bolo, for instance, who's Darren said he wants in the first team next season. Well, he's not going to be able to train with the first team now, is he? And the same with Mendonca and probably a lot of even people like Nevitt. You know, you don't need 7 centre backs in training. So, which of the 6 are you going to pick? If you're having let's say we're playing 2 teams, you probably only need 4 or 5 centre halves, don't you? Like, I literally don't know where these players are going to go, and then you risk bombing them out. And then we're saying, "Oh, bring them in for the cup game, like the Virtue Trophy," which, again, I don't care about. But you've now annoyed, let's say, 30% of this first team squad. So all that togetherness that we were talking about in pre-season surely is going to be eroded into now, because you're going to have clearly a team that the manager's thinking about, let's say 20 players that are in the manager's thoughts, and then the rest. Or even like someone like Adebisi, when he gets back, we've got 3 left backs at the club. Which one of them's missing out? You can't play 3 left backs in a training match. What do we do?
I simply don't know. I don't know what we do. I'm not often am I drained of positivity, but 31 players is ridiculous. Like the job that Fergie now has on his hands to not only go and get us out of this rot, considering it's been 150 odd days since we won a league game, but also now to manage 13 players who probably all want to play football and are going to have to be left out of the matchday squad is such a tall order. It is such a difficult challenge for him now. But he's got to go and do it. It's the thing that I still think we're just going to rip contracts up. I think we're just going to take hits on people that we don't think we're going to sell. I just think we're going to get rid of them. And I think we'll just, if we can't get rid of them to National League and we can't sell them to Scotland or wherever, then I think we're just going to go, look, we're going to take the financial hit on you. And we're not, people aren't in the position to be taking financial hits, by the way, but you can't have a 31. You can't have people just sat there twiddling their thumbs and being paid to do nothing. Like, you just can't. And even in training, like, how are you going to train with 31 players? That's insanity.
Can I ask you boys a question? Because none of you have were on my side of the fence when I said I'm probably wanting Fergie out on the pod. I would love to. Are we in agreement now that the time for excuses is over and he's got to start picking up some points with the starting lineup that he's been given? And at what stage, if we haven't won after 10 games, let's say, do you think it's Fergie out? If we haven't won after 15 games, or are you saying there is no pressure on Fergie, he can take us into League Two and that's fine? I'd love to get an opinion on that from you boys.
Do you know, my issue now is, and a few people mentioned, I think I pulled up one of the comments, is that does Fergie now get another free pass for a month? Because we've brought in 4 players on the final day of the transfer window. He's got to build those players in. At what point does it become too late? Like, we saw Burton last year. Max, you can probably remember better than I can. Burton made a great escape. And are we basically saying that, right, well, we'll be okay. We'll start to pick up some scrappy points, and then come November, we'll have the full 11 that we want. That wasn't the full 11 at the start of the season. That's where I'm at. Is that you've got to give them a chance now to build these players in, especially if we're going from 4-3-3 to now 5-3-2. Like that's another thing that you're getting training. The one thing that I did want to comment on, Max, is how do you manage 31 players? Well, the positives are at least we now don't have to do our training against mannequins. At least we've now got some actual players that can stand on the pitch. Even if we don't want them, they just become the opposition, don't they? The forwards will hopefully have a field day because the players are crap. And then does that build their confidence up rather than shooting against Forza mannequins? They've got Bilo and Blackmore in goal that they can score hundreds of goals past in training, and then they go and do it in a game. I don't know. I've not answered your question, John, have I? I will give Fergie until the end of November to turn it around. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm in and around the same sort of measure. I think early November at the very, very earliest. However, Jan Ferguson has been backed. He's got the players that in the door now. He's got a system that he can play with wing backs, which clearly he's been wanting to do. We've been very adamant we're going to play 2 up top. We should be better defensively, and if we play how I think we're going to play going forward, we should have more people in and around the box to hopefully help us score more goals. But he's been back. There's no excuse now. You know, you look at this group of players and how poor we were saying a lot of them were. You know, if he got this side relegated, I wouldn't even have said that it was 100% on him. I would have blamed the recruitment more than him. But now we've signed 2 people from Wrexham who got promoted to the Championship with Wrexham, and two players of not necessarily top end League One caliber, but 2 players that played a crucial role in a promotion season, and that's going to change our mentality. We've got a very exciting young striker. We've got a highly rated loanee that Chelsea rate very highly, despite maybe having a poor-ish spell at Gillingham. We've brought 4 players in today that are going to help us. Hopefully, there's no excuse for him now to go. And what I don't want to hear as well, because this is an annoyance of mine, is every interview it's the same. It's my players are low on confidence, and as a manager, I've got to do my job and I've got to help them gain confidence. I'm just sick of hearing it. Like, this squad needs to build confidence by winning football matches. And if you can't win football matches, then you need to let somebody else have a go at winning football matches and give somebody else a turn to try and do it. Because I don't think Darryl will ever sack him. And I'm not Fergie out at the moment. I think I wanted a change. I think we're going to get a change in formation and a change in system. I'm happy to let it ride and let it work. I'm not Fergie out, but I don't think Darryl will ever sack Darren Ferguson. So I would hope that if by November we've won less than 3 games, which would be crazy, but if we've won less than 3 games by November, I would hope he'd do the right thing and walk.
You say he's got no excuses, but he has, hasn't he? He's got his number 1 goalkeeper out injured. He's got his captain out injured. He's just been given, how many players did we sign today? 4 new players on deadline day. 4 new players on deadline day. Going straight into...
Sorry, God, stop. Just remember what the thumbnail was. Is you and me giving it the 4.
Well, yeah. These players will need time to gel. As much as I love Darren Ferguson, he's not a miracle worker. He's not going to get us a performance out of them straight away to the point where we're now suddenly winning games. We're diabolical at the moment. Like that performance against Exeter was so bad. We're playing Huddersfield away on Saturday. Like, he's not going to get any points there, is he? With these 4 new players, they're not going to just immediately come on and beat Huddersfield. I think we'll learn in the next sort of 3 or 4 games where it's going. And I think that will be enough for us to decide whether Ferguson is the right person or not. I think when the squad's fully fit and they've fully gelled, yes, he won't have any excuses. But to put a points target on it now, I think would be stupid. I think we've got to give him a couple of games just to see where we're at. And then we can sort of evaluate where we are and where we should be. I don't think we're going to get relegated. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near it. Ashley's pulled up a comment from Liam about how Orient were bottom last year after 8 games, and look what they ended up doing. I'm not saying we can have a playoff push. We will be mid-table, I think, but this squad is good enough, and we'll either be mid-table with Ferguson or not, in my opinion.
Lods, can you just give me some of your positivity? I you know me, I'm a logical man and I like to hear reasons. So can you give me the reasons why you believe Peterborough will finish mid-table? Because I look at our points. Like I say, extrapolate them out over a season. We've taken 41 points for our last 46 League One games. We've got 39 games left this season. How many points do you think it takes to get us to mid-table? Probably another 49. So that's quite a big upturn in form over a points per game. I don't know. I can't work it out off the top of my head. We're currently averaging, as you've researched, the lowest amount of shots on target in the entire Football League. I think we've conceded the 2nd most in the division. We've scored 1 open play goal. We've lost to Accrington. What are you seeing that's making you think, yeah, we're going to pick up the points? Like I say, 49 points from 39 games. What have you seen that's made you think that's going to happen?
I think when Bass comes back in, he immediately improves the defence, as will Hughes. I think the new signings that we've signed today are all going to improve their positions. I think you also have to have a look at the fixtures. Were we really expecting to beat Cardiff away? Were we expecting to get a point at Cardiff away? Even the strongest 11 now, I still think we would have struggled. I think as much as we gave Luton a good go at home, I think they just had complete control of the game. I think they could have just beaten us at any moment, which obviously they did in the end. Yeah, we lost to Accrington, but it's the League Cup. We lose the first round of the League Cup pretty much every season. And yes, we probably should have beat Exeter away. But I think if you look at the fixtures we've played, I don't think the points tally that we're on is that far from where we would have expected to be with the squad that we had. And we've signed improvements on top of that, as well as, players to come back from injury and back up to full fitness. Kyoso's only played an hour. He's going to immediately improve. It was Garbett's first game. We've all seen how good he is. We've now got Collins, like any sort of mental issue he had before about whether he's going to leave or not. Like, it's done now. Like, he can just get his head in the game. We all know that when he's on form, everyone around him plays better. There are so many positives that we can take from this squad that I just can't see it. Ferguson as well. Like, he's a good enough manager to not be in the relegation zone. Like, I think come Christmas we'll be fine, and I think come the end of the season we'll be mid-table comfortably.
Is this? Harry's mentioned it before, hasn't he? and said that Fergie will take the 8th best team to 4th and the 6th best team to 2nd. But what he will also do is take the 18th best team to 23rd and the 20th best team to 24th. Is this now the time for Fergie to prove Harry wrong? And not just Harry, I'm just using Harry as the reference point. In that, did Fergie say last year that keeping this team up was his greatest achievement? Was that last season? Am I right in saying that? Yeah. That means that this season will be his greatest achievement. He's basically sacking off every promotion that he's ever won with Posh or Doncaster, every trophy that he's won with Posh. That's 3 virtue trophies that he's won, every success that he's had, to basically say that staying in a league is better. Like that, if that doesn't tell you sort of where we're at the moment, then what else does? We've had an outgoing. I'll be honest, after his performances in pre-season, I am just totally shocked by this because he looked pants. And I mean this in a nice way. It's 17-year-old left back, Devon Gabjumo, as I'm going to say it. He played for the under-21s last season, but he was one that went to St. George's Park with the team and very quickly was replaced by Noah Freeman in the pre-season games, and said that for me he looked poor. That may be harsh, but that's one. But it's not one that we've got. Has that gone through? That's freed up some cash. If it went through earlier, I don't know.
Yeah, I also just want to mention when we're talking about transfers, the Elliot Jackson, I think his name is, the reporter for Blackburn, did say about a Plymouth bid. So I'm very happy that we got the deal over the line, because it seemed that Plymouth's bid was far greater than ours. And we could have had that swiped away, like we had Archer maybe swiped away from us because we didn't do that quick enough. We had that swipe from Luton, and I don't think we would have competed financially for with Plymouth, but the papers were over the line too soon. So I also just wanted to just rewind ever so slightly, John. When we were talking about the positivity aspect. Oh, no, hang on a minute, John, you go.
Well, I hadn't even thought of this, but it's just come to my mind. You know, Archer, he's a winger. So what if we were going 3-5-2? Why were we trying to sign a winger like 2 days ago?
John, because we've decided this new system in the last 24 hours, clearly based on the transfer business that we were able to do, based on the fact that we've left it last minute to do it.
Yeah,
if we went to Archer 3 weeks ago, we would have been fine.
I think what's happened is we haven't got Archer. We've been outbid for Luton, and we've gone, new plan to up top.
It must have been. I just had an epiphany when you mentioned Archer there. I was like, hold on, we've just said that the strikers work best as twos, and we're going to a 3-5-2 because of that. But we were trying to sign a winger to stay with the one up front 48 hours ago. Madness.
It's baffling, isn't it? Absolutely baffling. I did just want to mention as well. I think last season we were talking about however many points in 46 games, whatever. Complete relegation form. I think the biggest complaint last season is we had the players, we had the quality, didn't we? Just the players looked like they didn't really want to try. They didn't look like they didn't care. And that's not necessarily an excuse, but I think we've got a team that cares. I think we've got a team that has an element of resolve and wants to try and win games for this football club. And I think we've got, Keller on 5 years. I think Leonard's just signed 4. We've got Garbett for 3. We've got Woods for 4, I think. So we've got a core here for quite a long time. And look, they might not work. The recruitment might have failed us again. But all we can say is we can hope, can't we? But I think this season is very different to last season. And last season we had the quality to stay up. Yet that team was so disappointing. It didn't feel like a lot of them cared. They were all wanting moves. They didn't really try as hard as they could have. I don't think anybody can say that this team is not trying as hard as they physically can. I just think we've had a rocky start to the season, and that form will pick up. Hopefully, I believe it will, but I can see why people don't think that.
Yeah, look, everybody's saying that there is a DMAC interview to go and watch on Posh Plus. So I think that this is probably the right time. I think that we've probably saturated everything that we've got to say. I'm still stunned into silence. So just from me and probably the other boys as well, thank you to everybody that's tuned in tonight. This was a very busy one, an active one. We will absolutely be recording tomorrow after the Leyton Orient game. So I think that there's probably going to be a little bit of discussion on that. And then we'll have 24 hours to reflect on today, basically, because it all came back to back to back to back, didn't it? We had, what was it, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. No, other way, 4, 5, 6, and 7 p.m. basically, that we had 4 new signings. So fingers crossed we can see a few of those tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly what the timing out is on that, but like I say, thank you everybody for joining us, and up the Poshcast.
Up the Poshcast.
Up the Poshcast.
Up the Poshcast.